So right after the Minnesota Vikings shocked the world on Thursday morning, trading Yannick the Freak Ngakoue to the Ravens for a 2021 third-round pick, 2022 conditional fifth-rounder, what does this mean? What is going on with the 2020 Vikings as well as 2021 and beyond? So here are the top 5 things that the Yannick the Freak Ngakoue trade tells us about the Vikings. Now, first up, this trade is not about Yannick. This is not about a lack of performance or anything like that. 6 games, 14 pressures, 5 sacks, and 2 strip sacks. Vikings tried to replace Danielle Hunter on the fly. They had hope for the season, and then the record said no. So they did the best they could. They made lemonade out of lemons, and it's whatever. But this is not about Yannick. Dude was a pro's pro, came in and learned a new system on the fly. Played extremely well. Was extremely well liked by teammates and coaches, and I hope, frankly, that he wins a Super Bowl ring in Baltimore. He's going back home. Grew up in D.C., went to school in Maryland, so there you go. But here are the top 5 things that the Yannick trade says about the Vikings. 2020 is over. So, of course, we all sort of surmise that from the 1-5 record. You are what your record says you are. You know, what Zimmer's massively overrated mentor Bill Parcells always said. But you trade your second most effective pass rusher. Just kidding, your most effective pass rusher, as well as second highest paid player on the team. That sort of confirms it. That sort of you're done. And if the Vikings had held on against Seattle, had held on against Tennessee, and maybe not been embarrassed against Atlanta, could be a completely different story, because then you're looking at a potentially 4-2 team or 3-3 at worst. All of a sudden you circle the wagons. I mean, you're not trading Yannick. You're talking about extending Yannick and just getting after Green Bay in week 8 after Aaron Rodgers showed against Tampa Bay that he is indeed mortal and the 12-year-old boy's offense can be handled. But at 1-5, doesn't jive, is what it is. Next up, thing number 2 that the Yannick trade tells us about the Vikings, DJ WONNUM time. That's right, 4th-round pick coming out of South Carolina, has been steadily increasing his role as a rotational edge rusher for the Vikings. Had a career-high 33 defensive snaps Sunday against Atlanta. Now, some of that is garbage time, but that's certainly going to be amped up now. I think he should take on either an on paper or a de facto starting role. I think he should be getting 45, 50 snaps a game. Jalen Holmes, I get it. The coaches and Andre Patterson and Zimmer, they want to keep working him hands like, oh, please don't let him be a bust. Please, but you know what you have with him. He's not going to get a ton of boogie off the outside. He's going to be okay against the run. But DJ WONNUM has the physical tools to potentially be a very solid edge rusher in this league. So get him out there, get him experience. Because what's the point about just getting snaps to Julio Holmes or Jalen Holmes? Right? Not much at this point. And also, I think the Yannick trade does speak volumes about how they do feel about Ifeadi Odenigbo. Or he is actually leading the Vikings in pressures. He's a restricted free agent next year, and he's certainly shown his worth. So Danielle Hunter, Yannick Ngakoue, DJ WONNUM going forward, it's kind of okay without Yannick, even though it would be nice to have him. But thing number 3 at the Yannick Ngakoue trade tells us about the Vikings. They're optimistic about Danielle Hunter in 2021 because if the Vikings were concerned about Danielle next year as well as potentially the rest of his career, I don't think they make this trade. And also, it was announced today that Danielle Hunter will undergo season-ending surgery on that herniated disc in his neck. So shutting him down for the season, giving him as much time as possible to rehab for next year, I think that's smart. It's great news. But shutting down Danielle, getting him ready for next year, I think that the Vikings and their medical staff and training staff are very optimistic that he'll be able to come back, be a full participant in OTAs and training camp in the season next year. No muss, no fuss. Because if Danielle's future had been up in the air, I don't think they make this trade. I think they either tag Yannick or extend him long term. Next up, thing number 4 that the Yannick Ngakoue trade tells us about the Vikings. I think that Zimmer and Spielman are safe. So this team is playing for 2021. If Spielman and Zimmer needed to get a couple of W's under their belt this season and save their bacon, I don't think that they would trade Yannick at this point. But Spielman, he is the one who made the trade. He is the one who took a slight loss on the trade as well. Basically, the difference is a high second-round pick and a low third-round pick. So is what it is. And I think Spielman will be back to make those picks. I think Zimmer, I think Zimmer had a fail-safe, but now he certainly has one, because before he could be like, well, I mean, the defense wasn't the same because of Danielle Hunter, and because without a pass rush, cornerbacks look bad, even though I'm the cornerback guy, yada, yada. But now, without Yannick, on top of without Danielle, he can be like, well, what can you do? What can you do? But ownership needs to be very crystal clear with both these jabronis that, hey, we'll give you a Billy Martin for 2020, Rona, Danielle, Yannick, whatever. But now everyone is on the hot seat in 2021. Win or GTFO. Lastly, thing number 5 that the Yannick trade tells us about the Vikings gives them 2021 cap flexibility. So again, the bright side this year, the Vikings, who were dead last in the NFL in salary cap space, now gain $5+ million in cap space that they can roll over to 2021. And also, since Yannick's not going to be part of the future, so they're not going to franchise tag him next year, and they're not going to extend him long term, that does save the Vikings 18, 19, 20 million bucks that would have been on the 2021 books if Yannick had been here. So basically, the Vikings, through this move, do save theoretically about $24 million in cap for the 2021 season if they do roll over that $5 million. That gives you flexibility. You can retain some of your own free agents coming up. You can extend Brian O'Neill. For example, you can re-sign Eric Wilson. Maybe you bring Anthony Harris back. Don't know. Maybe you extend Harrison Smith so he ends his career in purple. Lots of things to do. But also, you could also be actual players in free agency in March as well, which would be kind of nice. Or, and I think that this is a big part of it, they could be saving up and budgeting to cut Kirk Cousins. Do a full video breakdown of that, because I actually think that's a real possibility. But that's it. Those are the 5 things that the Yannick Ngakoue trade tells us about the Vikings. What are your thoughts? What else does the trade tell you about the Vikings? Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Viking takes. Want to support that work? Post on the Venmo. But until next time, Skull Production Value.